Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jump Up Supercast, the only podcast on the internet to be worth $7.5 billion. I'm Will, and joining me this week, Brandon.
Yo, it wasn't me, dog. I was in medbay.
Ills.
Every day, Game Pass grows stronger.
And Moozamil.
Just to be clear, we are willing to negotiate a lower price, though. If you want to buy us out, then don't worry.
It depends on if we come as part of the deal. You know, do you get the IP or the workforce?
True.
But yeah, that is, there's a lot of things going on in video games, but I don't think the news that we got this last week was something that anyone could have predicted, which is just one day, Microsoft is like, hey, we just bought Bethesda, no big deal. They're ours now. Which of course is, like I said, something that we did not expect. There was already speculation. We talked about last month, I believe, about Warner Brothers getting bought, but Warner Brothers, who even cares? We're buying Bethesda because with buying Bethesda for a cool $7.5 billion, you're, of course, Microsoft is getting Bethesda Game Studios and all of their IP, which, of course, includes stuff like Elder Scrolls and Fallout. But in addition, you get things like Machine Games, who work on Wolfenstein, Arcane, who work on Dishonored and the upcoming Deathloop, and id Software, for example, who works on Doom and Doom Eternal. So, even though it says they bought Bethesda/ZeniMax, really they've got 10 new teams under the umbrella.
They mentioned they bought ZeniMax, and ZeniMax under that umbrella is all of these companies.
All of the things that are related to Bethesda. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll get into specifics as we go on, but that's the top line. And so what's like your top line impressions just from when you first heard about it?
$7.5 billion. I just want to get it out of the way. That's a lot of monies.
That is the biggest acquisition in the history of this industry.
Mm-hmm.
Both in dollar amount, but just also in sheer, like, how crazy this is, right? What this means for the industry. Like, this is, we've never seen something to this scale before, right? Mm-hmm. Like, a first-party publisher bought out a major publisher.
Mm-hmm.
Like ZeniMax was not a small publisher, but Bethesda games are huge, right? Yeah. And now these games are first party. Like, that is just and also that's like one less big publisher on the market now.
Yeah,
like,
think about who has E3 conferences, right? It's Ubisoft, it's EA, and then like Bethesda's like the third Western company to really get one. That's a third party, right? That's crazy that they're in a unique position to have been acquired, right? Which is that they are the biggest privately owned company, right? They were not on the stock market, so acquiring them is much easier than, say, Microsoft acquiring EA, for example. But like you said,
if you want an idea of how much extra valuation gets added on just from being public, CD Projekt Red, who is much, much smaller than than obviously all of Bethesda, all of ZeniMax. Mm-hmm. It would cost more to acquire CD Projekt Red than it would all of ZeniMax. So, but acquiring companies that's private is just much, much easier. All of their acquisitions so far have been private companies, but obviously they've been much smaller studios, right? They've been singular studios, not a whole ass publisher with 7 studios, I believe.
Yeah.
Like, and a whole host of IP, like, craziness.
The last time that Microsoft made a purchase that was this kind of thing was back in 2014 with Minecraft, right? Which by itself cost them $2.5 billion, which is still crazy for just Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
But, that 7.5, big jump up, right? And so the obvious thought is, what happens to all of Bethesda's games? Right? Because they've been third party. Yeah. They've been on everything, right? Right now, they still actively have agreements that they are having to stay with, that like Deathloop will still be PlayStation 5 exclusive for a year, while the company that owns that game is Microsoft, right?
Microsoft is publishing 2 exclusive PS5 games, timed exclusive, mind you, and they're going to be on PC day one as well. But that is really funny that like Microsoft will be publishing 2 PS5 console exclusives,
Now, but further down the line, there's obviously questions, right? Elder Scrolls is a huge IP. Skyrim is gigantic, right? Fallout, huge game. Are they suddenly not going to be Xbox exclusive? And we don't know definitively, but we do know that Bethesda Game Studios' next game, Starfield, is coming to Xbox and PC. Which is, I think, who knows how big Starfield will be, but Bethesda's invested a lot of money in that game already, right? This is their primary team working on it. Yeah. And I think it'll be very interesting to see how that goes.
My opinion on this is if Starfield is exclusive, nothing is off the table, you know?
Yeah.
And I want to pull up a quote that Phil Spencer, he was talking to Yahoo Finance, and they asked him about exclusives, like what's going to be to do with exclusives. And his answer on this is, but as the Xbox community, what they should feel this is a huge investment in the experience they're going to have in the Xbox ecosystem. And we want the Xbox ecosystem the best place to play, and we think game availability is absolutely part of that. Which I think, to be honest, is PR speak to say, look, this is for Xbox owners, right? Yeah. I think this is like, they are trying to up the value of Xbox. And because people say, oh, well, they bought Minecraft, and Minecraft is still coming to other platforms. But this is not the same situation at all.
Not at all. Minecraft was already on everything under the sun at that point.
And Minecraft in of itself is a platform, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is the key differentiator here. The Elder Scrolls games, Fallout, like, sure, yeah, they're going to be missing out on a lot of sales on PlayStation, but I think that these franchises, you know, it's the same reason you don't put Halo on PlayStation, right? Like, I don't think that I think they're going to treat these franchises as first party exclusives. Well, obviously that means they'll come to PC day one, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll still make a ton of sales there. They'll be on Steam, right? But I would not, if I'm a PlayStation fan, I would not be expecting to get the next Elder Scrolls game, just straight up.
Yeah, when I first heard this, I was like impressed that they actually made this move, because it really rose like Xbox stock in my eyes. Like, holy shit, like having something like Skyrim on Xbox only, if that's how it plays out, is going to be fucking huge. And
I mean, that's how you sell consoles, right? Like, yes. And you can say, like Phil has said over and over again, oh, we don't care about... They do care about selling consoles, right? They do. That, like you know, and, like, with the Series S in particular, it's like, hey, look, not only are we in the interest of selling consoles, but, like, hey, sure, this is exclusive, but it only costs $300 to get into our ecosystem, you know?
Yeah. And I was thinking, like, maybe... Bethesda will suddenly have some more quality control now. Well, I'm hoping. I mean that's part of a joke, right? But like the thing is, Bethesda is a third-party studio. They are privately owned, right? And so they are reliant on consistent releases, right? You have to have a game out every year to sort of keep yourself going, which means you have things like Fallout 76 come out when clearly they weren't ready, because that's the nature of you having to sustain yourself entirely off of your first party releases, right? Whereas now under Microsoft, there might be more wiggle room, you know? Like,
I mean, you can rely on 21 other studios to hopefully have a game ready, so you don't have to,
yeah,
you know. So Bethesda Games, what is it? Software? I don't know whatever the studio name is. They can take all the time they need on Starfield. They can take all the time they need on Elder Scrolls, you know? Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, there will be other tentpole releases from Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's legitimately exciting. Like, if they actually have the time to polish their games and they take it, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Bethesda was in a unique position to get acquired like this, right? For a couple of reasons. One, we've noted before on the podcast, it's been a while since they've had a big runaway hit, right? Doom Eternal did well, right? But before that,
huge disappointment to me.
Sure, but I just mean like market.
I know. I'm just.
But before that, like Dishonored stumbled. Wolfenstein 2 didn't do as well as the first game. Fallout 76 underperformed, right? And so I think that they were in a position where they could look and say, well, maybe we can look at getting acquired, right?
Well, yes and no. I think that ZeniMax as a company, this has kind of been their end goal from the beginning. And I think this is like an undercovered part of the story, is that ZeniMax, we know for a fact at least since 2016, but probably before then, has been looking to get acquired. And I think the only reason like this company existed and started buying out all these other studios was in hopes of one day being able to sell out.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the end goal of ZeniMax as a company. That's the reason why they had all these studios under their umbrella, right?
Wasn't there a rumor before that they were going to get bought by Sony or something?
I
remember seeing that on Twitter somewhere.
I don't recall specifically, but I know for sure, like, there was murmurs back in 2018, there was murmurs back in 2016, though the companies that were being talked about in 2016 were, like, not related to gaming, right? They were just, like, I forget what you call them, but, conglomerates that just own a bunch of...
Like an investment firm or something? Like
yeah. Like those kind of companies were in talks of being acquiring ZeniMax. So, like, someone in the games industry themselves acquiring ZeniMax is crazy. But I do think, I really do feel like this was the end goal of the company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if you look back, obviously it was surprising. It took everybody off guard. Like, holy shit, good morning. It's Tuesday morning. And, but if you look back, some of it's, like, not, like, super surprising because they've always kind of had like a good relationship with Xbox. But having
a good relationship with the company is different from being acquired by a company, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but they did always have a good relationship with them. Like I think Elder Scrolls 2 was it Morrowind?
That's 3.
3. One of them was exclusive to the original Xbox, and like it never came out on PS2, but it was on the original Xbox, and then. They had, like, the whole Fallout 4 thing. Didn't they have, like, mods only on Xbox One?
I mean, like, Microsoft has had marketing deals with Fallout 76, Fallout 4. I'm pretty sure they had a marketing deal with Skyrim, I want to say. Yeah. But it was never like, oh, they're going to buy them.
Yeah. But I do think part of the situation, though, for Bethesda's games is... they took on the strategy that a lot of companies have been taking this gen of heavily discounting pretty much soon after launch, right? Doom 2016 was the first big time they did that, right? And then the thought was lower the price, get people invested in the IP, and then you can leverage that for the sequel, right? Which has worked sometimes in the past, but I think struggles when you're not a first-party studio like Sony, where you're also making money just by getting people in the ecosystem, period, right? And so I think that when you look at a game like that, and also if you look at the current lineup, we have to say the cursed word. We're going to unlock the box that happens every time on the podcast. Game Pass is suddenly a very good fit for a lot of Bethesda's non-Fallout / Elder Scrolls games, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I think we do have to talk about Game Pass when we're talking about this acquisition, right? Yes. Because every fucking Bethesda game from now on will be on Game Pass. That is, I mean... the value proposition added to the service is enormous right there. They're
fact already putting Doom Eternal next month.
Yeah, Doom Eternal is going to be on there next week.
Yeah.
But Starfield, the next Elder Scrolls game, day one is going to be on Game Pass. I mean, that's just massive, right? That is, there is no way to undersell that, Mm-hmm. I mean, oversell that, because that is just, having the next Elder Scrolls game day one on Game Pass is just insane, So yeah, I mean, I think this was a move primarily for Game Pass, right? I think this was a move. I mean, I think this is just a thing that benefits the Xbox ecosystem as a whole, right? But I mean, suddenly now we're looking at it and it's like, oh, Microsoft is the biggest first-party publisher right now, mm-hmm. Which is a far cry from past generation, right? Like, most of this gen, Microsoft was wholly mediocre and was barely releasing anything, right?
Yeah, as like a first-party studio. Yeah, you think of Microsoft, you blank. You think Halo, that's it.
Yeah, right? Like the Halo Forza Gears, right? But suddenly, and obviously this has been growing, but this just turns it into a whole new level. I mean, they now have more studios than Sony, what a world, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if you look at it, obviously this is not a thing that will change their immediate output, right? It won't. This is stuff that'll matter down the line. Though I guess it's worth mentioning Doom Eternal is coming to Xbox Game Pass on October the 1st. So that is coming soon, I guess.
I do think we should talk about the bad sides of this, though. Like,
yes.
Because, like, you know, yes, this is good for, like, Game Pass. So if you're a Game Pass owner, this is great. Maybe this helps the game quality, but that's, who knows, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty nebulous.
Hopeful thinking.
Yeah. But, I mean, number one, like, this kind of, like, corporate consolidation in the games industry is bad. You know? And because, and I'm not even thinking just in terms of, like, this particular acquisition, but it's like, okay, this changes the game in terms of, like, the landscape of the industry, and what's stopping, say, Google or Amazon or Apple from making big plays just like this, right?
You think it's going to become an arms race?
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible.
I thought you were going to say Sony, but I was going to be like...
No, but so, it's like, that's the thing, though. Like, I'm not even thinking about Sony right now. I'm thinking about, like, what happens when the other tech giants decide we want to make serious investments in gaming, which we will talk about in a little bit. But, like, they could very easily make this kind of play, too, because now Microsoft is showing, like, yeah, they just made a $7.5 billion purchase. Oh, shut up, Siri. They just made a $7.5 billion purchase, and that is nothing to a company like Microsoft.
Nothing.
Right?
Yeah.
They are opening the war chest, and Google and Amazon can just as easily do something like this, right?
Sure.
And I generally just, you know, having all these studios and all these publishers being under just a few houses, I think is very bad for the long-term health of the industry.
Would be bad, yeah. I agree. I think the good thing with this situation, at least, is that, at least for Microsoft's case, they are fine with putting everything on PC also.
Yeah.
And possibly open to, you know, other things. But there could be other companies that do the same that aren't as generous. And that would be bad.
But I'm not even thinking in terms of, like, what platform they'll be available on. I'm just thinking, like, you know, I mean, just creatively.
Who has the keys to unlock the door, right?
Yeah.
And if there's fewer and fewer people, then, you know, that can lead to stagnation, right? Is the concern.
I don't know how much I'm concerned about that part of it, because the indie scene is alive and well. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if we're at that point yet, but this is it's a dangerous, I guess, sign, maybe.
It's definitely concerning at the very least, right? Like the possible implications of something like this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of who knows where it'll end up, right? Because I think that we're seeing, I mean, maybe one day Google will want to come back to it, right? And Amazon, like we'll get to in a little bit. But I think that more importantly than anything else, we're already in a situation where you do have to get approval from these big multinational corporations already to get your indie games on any of these things, right? You know, you can't just pop a game up magically unless you're on itch.io. And so I think that the situation, though, is there's a middle ground that is sort of being sucked up by, because I don't think that companies are going to want to do a lot of Bethesda type purchases, right? Because there's only so much you want to spend before you feel like you're making money back, right? You open up the war chest with the intention to make money back, right? But I think that, like, a lot of the companies that Microsoft has been acquiring up to this point have also been that, like, middle ground, you know, like Obsidian is like they're not AAA, but they're not indie, right? They're in that middle ground, right?
Yep.
The Wasteland devs, a lot of those developers are there, and they've already been shrinking overall in the state of the industry, right? Over the last 15 years, because as game development has gotten more expensive, it's harder to function as a team. And so now it's sort of, I think that those are the ones that very quietly can just all get hovered up over time. And suddenly we realize, oh, if you want to play a Western RPG, you're going to have to be in the Xbox ecosystem in some way, right?
Yeah.
Which for Xbox is a strategy. You're cornering a market. But for us as consumers, isn't always obviously for the best.
And I mean, like, this is concerning for, like, even just to forget the other companies, but, like, in terms of, like, Microsoft versus Sony, right? Like, Microsoft opening up their war chest like this is not good for Sony, because it will get harder and harder to compete if Microsoft can just gobble up all these companies, right? And I think ultimately,
that's the nature of the game.
But ultimately that's a bad thing, right?
We don't want Sony to die, but
if they can choke out the competition through like fucking by opening the war chest, like that is concerning, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get 7 steps ahead, right? Because that is a multi-step process to get there. But
I'm doing 4D chess right now. Come on.
It's not necessarily 4D, but I think that like this is an unprecedented move, like we said at the start, right? And so, you know, you have to look at that and say, well, this thing that didn't seem possible before, right, is suddenly more feasible than you would have originally believed. Because for years there was rumors of like, will Microsoft buy EA? And every time I laughed it off because come on, right? But now it's suddenly like, well, I mean, you know, these companies are big enough that if they really wanted to, they could, right? So I'm
just not overall like so far when Microsoft has acquired a studio, it's been like smaller studios that are struggling to keep the lights on. So I've generally been okay with it, right? But I cannot in good faith cheer this on, right? I can't in good faith be like, yeah, this is a good thing, right? Because I really don't think it is. I don't think this is a good thing. I think this is a good thing for Xbox, maybe, but I don't believe that this is a good thing, a net positive.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess my only question is...
I think it's too early to say that it's a bad thing either.
I mean, my question is just... Is this a situation of video games just don't go through this a lot of the like essentially a very protracted startup to sell off, right? Which is very common in tech as a whole, right? Tons of companies are founded with the intention to one day be acquired by Google, by Apple, by some one of those companies, right? By Microsoft. But with video games, we haven't had this kind of thing before, right? And so it sort of is now video games are entering a space that is more like the overall tech industry, which, like you said, I think long term has done damage to the tech industry, right? But it's sort of unprecedented for what we generally focus on, you know?
Well, it was inevitable, really. I mean...
Oh, sure. I mean, we could also think of it like that. Yeah, it is inevitable. But...
I mean, if Bethesda was hunting, like you said, right? You said, if Bethesda was expanding in order to be bought.
Yeah, but if they had been bought by, like, SoftBank or someone, you know, that's different than being bought by someone who is in the industry, is a major player already, just shrinking down the number of major players, right? I think that is inherently a different thing.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, we'll see how it goes, right?
Oh, and also Microsoft owns a Japanese studio now, by the way.
They finally did.
Tango Software.
Tango Gameworks, yeah.
Gameworks, yeah.
There it
is.
They got a foothold in Japan.
Shinji Mikami is now...
We're coming for you, Nintendo.
Now owned by Microsoft.
Phone calls for Phil. Phil doesn't have to fly all the way over every time he wants to talk to someone in Japan now. So there it is. That's the big story for the week. That's the big story for the year in a lot of ways.
I mean, the biggest story going into this upcoming generation, quite frankly.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean there's not other stories. Because guess what? The dream of cloud gaming is not dead. Not only is Stadia wildly successful, Stadia Mania is running wild across this globe of ours. xCloud has launched, right? I believe briefly mentioned that. But now, one of those giant evil corporations that is gonna stick their finger in this market is Amazon, who are launching a new service called Luna, right? Which is, and the same idea as Stadia, is a streaming platform. If you've got a Fire TV, it works on that. It works on Mac and it works on PC, as well as Android and iOS. It is the same general idea as Stadia, right? Which is you stream games. Though, hilariously, they're going to have 100 games at launch. which is more than what Google Stadia has right now at $50, more than double what Google Stadia has right now at $50. Though less than what xCloud has, I guess worth mentioning. But in terms of the money of it, Luna Plus is the thing you're going to be paying for to get access to it. And it's $6 per month for early access. And then within that, using the same approach they have for like Amazon Prime and stuff like that, they have channels. Right, so instead of buying specific games, you're buying access to channels of similar types of games, right? Weird. So it would be like platformer, where like they showed off like Sonic Mania, Yooka-Laylee, like Bloodstain would all be part of that, right? And the specifics of which they haven't gotten into in terms of pricing or anything else, but that's sort of they're essentially just launching a gaming wing of what already exists for what they have in terms of music and TV. So
I'm sorry, when you said Stadia was successful, I had to look it up to make sure you were lying. And
that is a huge lie.
Yeah, no, that is an absolute huge lie. But I will say a couple things on this. I mean, number one, I don't think this announcement really made a splash. Right, I think that like it just was like, yeah, okay. But I think Luna is interesting for a couple reasons. I mean, number one, they're doing a lot of things right off the bat that Stadia did not. Right. I think doing a subscription service is the only way that the cloud model makes sense. Right, straight up.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. 100%.
No one wants to buy $60 games to not actually own them and just be able to stream them, and then if the servers shut down, they're just fucked. Right.
I forgot that was a thing.
Yep.
Oh my God, so bad.
Yeah, it's really
so doing a Game Pass as subscription, great call. I think the introductory pricing is very good. Obviously, that's not going to stick, right? I think the channels thing is interesting because it does, I think, incentivize more publishers to get on board. Ubisoft already said they're on board. Mind you, they were also on board for Stadia. But
Ubisoft is on board for everything.
Yeah, Ubisoft's on board for everything. But Ubisoft is going to get their own channel. And I do think as publishers look to do their own subscription services, this is an easy sell. Okay, we just implement our existing infrastructure into this, right? The games are running on Windows, which means it's very easy to port from PC to Luna. I mean, it's basically nothing, right? Yeah. Which is like, I don't know. So in hindsight, why are Stadia games running on Linux? I don't get it. You know, like, because Amazon just made it. This is the easiest sell in the world now, right? Hey, publisher, your game's already done. You just have to let us bundle it in. That's it. Right? No work on your part required. So it's baffling that, I mean, if anything, this just exposes how fucking stupid Google was with how they framed Stadia and what their plans with Stadia were, right? Because so much was wrong with that. Jeez. I still think that content is king, though, right? I've said it before on the podcast. I don't think that another company like Amazon or Google can feasibly compete with the library of games that Sony or Microsoft have. I want to say Microsoft in particular because they are going hard on A, subscription services, and B, cloud gaming, right? Yeah. You just cannot compete with the 2 decades of content that they have. You just can't, right? You're gonna have to start having some big first-party games, and that does concern me if they do think about that. Yeah. Amazon has had a history of failing in the game space.
They bought 7 studios back 4 years ago, and all but 2 of those studios are now closed.
Yeah. The biggest disappointment to me was Double Helix. I really liked Double Helix. Amazon bought them up, and I was pissed off, and I was right to be pissed off because they did absolutely nothing with them. I think Amazon just released a major game, though, like 3 weeks ago?
They did, yeah. I forget the name of it.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't that fail?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
And then before that, there was the MMO that was set in like Jonestown or something that they launched and then just made disappear. It just went one day.
Yeah. But you know, this is a sign though that they are still very, very interested in making big investments in the space. Oh, and I should say the other big advantage they have over, say, Stadia and even xCloud, actually, in this regard, is Twitch integration.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's the big one, right? The fact that Amazon owns Twitch and they are now able to use that to their advantage, that does put them a considerable leg up, right?
Yeah.
YouTube live streaming, not nearly as popular as Twitch.
No,
right?
not even close.
Not even,
right?
Not even close.
So yeah, like you said, that puts it in a clear position. I wonder, because Amazon loves bundling packages together, right? That's their one thing, is they love just feeding you in to where you're buying everything through them, which is bad overall, but whatever. And so a bunch of things have now been lumped in with Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah.
And so I wonder if 6 months down the line, Luna suddenly
I think that's a distinct possibility, right? They're going to at least try to leverage people who A, subscribe to Amazon Prime, or B, subscribe to Twitch Prime in any way, or Twitch, whatever.
Yeah. Which is now lumped in with
I lumped in, but I think they're definitely going to try to leverage in those subscriptions, right? Look, I hate... This episode is going to be the Jump Up Supercast Rails on Capitalism, but I do think that, like I went to Amazon.com today, right?
Uh-huh.
And Amazon is a marketplace that sells goods from everyone and everywhere, right?
Uh-huh.
But the fact that I have to scroll down like 3 times to see a non-Amazon product on the front page. Like, I just saw Luna right on the front page. Like, boom, hey, Luna's here. And by the way, we also have the Echo, and we have the Kindle Fires, and we have this and that, right? The fact that the world's biggest marketplace can strong arm into, like, hey, buy our products is a bad thing. It's a very bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, in the same way that we talked about how Apple controlling the storefront of mobile phones so strongly is a big problem back during the Epic Apple stuff, right? Uh-huh. I think Amazon has that same thing, but with physical goods, and also now services, right? Where they haven't had as wildly a success with services as they've had with physical goods, right?
Yeah.
But like, this is them trying to do that, and that's a thing to be aware of.
Like, I think for us, it's so easy to laugh off these products because, like, Stadia failed, right?
Yeah.
But I think it is cause for concern that these tech giants are clearly showing interest that they want to be major players in this space, and they're not giving up, and they have the platforms to utilize it, right? And I think already Luna is showing Amazon to be much smarter than Google was, right? And the fact that they can leverage both Twitch and Amazon to sell this product, right? I do think these are causes for concern. I think these we should be a little worried.
Luna's a
bad name, bad branding, bad logo.
They left 4-letter names at Amazon. So yeah,
why is it called Luna Plus and not Luna Prime? What the fuck?
That is a mistake, isn't it?
Missed opportunity.
Yeah. Maybe they're holding that because Luna Prime is coming down the docket in 6 months.
Probably.
But that's it. That's Luna. That's a weird thing, right?
It's not a big thing yet. But
Also, it's funny because this was just a week where it's just like, this stuff was not rumored, really, right? Like, we had heard before, like, Amazon's looking at this stuff too, but just one day it's like, boom, actually.
They also have their own controller, I guess we should mention, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a package. If you can use your Xbox and PS4.
Another advantage over Stadia, by the way, you can play on iOS devices because they're using it. You stream through the web browser. You stream through Safari.
Which xCloud you can't do, which is a big bummer for me.
No, because you have to use the app for the Game Pass app.
And even then, it's like, that's a whole big kerfuffle when everyone talks about is Apple versus Microsoft on whether or not to allow xCloud on phones.
That's a
whole, so annoying.
Yeah, we're just little people in a battle of giants. We're just getting knocked back and forth.
I've been enjoying xCloud. I think it's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a fucking Android tablet. This is ridiculous. Fucking Apple.
It'll come eventually.
I never thought.
But
I never thought I would buy a mobile gaming clip. But
Ills, I'm not gonna lie, I have also been eyeing an Android tablet because of xCloud.
So
It
expensive.
works so well. Now we can play like all these Game Pass games in bed, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
So, in news that is basically confirmed, Nintendo is making a Princess Peach sex game, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Because they finally, after 8 years of development, took down a Princess Peach fan sex game. And as we've proven before with Mario Battle Royale and another Metroid 2 remake, that means Nintendo's making it, if you get DMCA'd by them.
Finally, who do you think's developing it? You know, think it's in house.
Good feel.
Yeah, good feel sounds about right. You know,
the textures, they understand how to make
the
it
music.
feel real. So is there any other news you want to mention?
I don't think so. I mean, there's like little things that happen, like near Replicant coming out in April, and it looks really good. That's cool. You know.
The mobile game also coming to the West.
Yeah, the mobile game, which actually looks good, is coming to the West. Oh, Resident Evil Village is cross-gen? Sure. Or they're... No, Capcom said it may come to PS4 and Xbox One. We're trying really hard. It may come.
What a weird statement. Kirby Fighters.
Yeah, Nintendo just shadow dropped an eShop Kirby game.
Because it leaked.
I'm actually starting to think that's not. I think this is just what they do.
I don't know.
I think Nintendo's just.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Nintendo would like give into a leak. They probably.
I think it leaked because it was already on the listings because it was going to come out the next day. Yeah.
Oh, you can get free anime.
Animal Crossing's got the Halloween update. Spooky. You can grow pumpkins and.
You can. I can finally be as pale in game as I am in real life.
Change your skin tone to like all sorts of colors. I wonder. Do you think those are like permanent, or is that just for Halloween?
I was wondering that too. I hope it's permanent.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Animal Crossing. I don't. My Animal Crossing character does not look like me, right? I think it's just let people run wild with it, right?
If you want to be a blue person, why not?
Yeah.
I want to role play as Ganon.
I can't be bald, so let me be green.
Yeah, I could be Shrek.
All of our Piccolo.
RuneScape is coming to Steam.
That is actually kind of cool. Like, I mean, not having to use like
it's new RuneScape,
but old RuneScape is also coming next year.
It's coming in early 2021.
So that's cool.
People love it.
People still play RuneScape.
Among Us 2 got canceled for just to make Among Us 1 more up.
Which makes sense. They don't want to split the user base.
Also is weird.
But like, man, Among Us 1 is so busted. So I feel bad for them because they're gonna have to rework a lot. They straight up said
it's a real PUBG situation,
Well, is it really that bad?
No. It's not even
implemented the bigger codes. But
it's not even on our end. It's like they've said on their end, like, look.
No, I know, but have we felt the ramifications?
Well, no, but I'm just saying I feel bad for the developers that like
the content pipeline's going to be slower because the base.
Yeah, it's not even just like the servers or anything. It's also just like the adding new content. They said is very hard with the code they're working with, and that's why they wanted to start from fresh. But they're gonna just hunker down, rework it. So good luck to them.
Question, Muzamil. Because I'm curious, because they said one of the things that's first on their docket is a colorblind mode. We play Among Us here on this podcast. Has that been a problem for you?
No, it's not. But
because I was thinking about it, if you can't tell colors, that's hard.
I mean, there's different kinds of colorblindness, but at least my colorblindness is not an issue.
I watched a video where someone modded the game to only be in colorblind mode, so everything's in shades of gray, and it was very hard.
I'm gonna guess that's not how colorblind mode is gonna look like.
No, that's the opposite. They made it more colorblind rather than accounting for colorblindness, right?
The wires would be very difficult. But like I think everybody's name is over their heads. So
they also patched out the names as part of that mod. So it's true. We don't know who's doing what. But anyways, Among Us is huge, by the way.
We stream it on Twitch sometimes. So
we do.
Once. Maybe we'll do more though.
We'll do it again.
Moose has also been streaming Mario 64 on Twitch.
Yeah.
check that
I
out.
was just
doing the plugs right now.
I was just bringing up Among Us.
Hey.
No,
Listen.
we're plugging right now, but we also have time to plug later after we do.
We
No,
need it, man.
The
We can become
list.
affiliates. I think
You did, and you weren't even listening to me. You didn't even do the list.
You didn't even give us lead-in time. You just like.
Ills did. If
Yeah,
you
what?
Ills heard,
The
Ills has
list.
ears. See, Ills got it.
I'm not doing it out of protest.
Yeah, I don't. We never notice when you
I
do it
didn't
either
even
way.
hear you. The list.
The list.
138 episodes or whatever we're on now. First time. This is the list. Hi, welcome. Every week we add a game to an ever-growing list of over 200 and is it 7, 8,
14.
14?
You were way off.
Time has flown, you know?
Yeah.
Hard to keep track. But these are not the greatest games of all time. These are just the games we've added to the list, right? And it's 6 different people adding. There's also the game club. So it is a lot to manage, but you can manage it by following along in the pace.
Well, what do we
below.
do on this list? We add it. What are we doing?
Well, I said we add a game.
we add the
week
game,
to
and
the
what are we
ever-growing
doing?
list.
Like, what is it? Just a
Well,
random
we're
order?
ranking it compared to the games that are on the list,
Thank
right? If stick with it, and you as a listener will probably understand roughly 20% of the process by the end of this episode. With that much, we guarantee.
Pretty simple.
You should listen to how I explain it on the game.
You
Club.
shouldn't actually. Don't listen to the game club.
Jesus.
We've declared
the
war.
fuck?
Those of us that are not in the
What the
game club
fuck?
have declared war with the game club members. We are.
Well, hold up. I'm in the Game Club Extra. We're friends.
Ills, this is a Romeo and Juliet thing. You can't say that out loud.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is the Capulets and the Montagues. We're going to end up dead in each other's
I
arms. by
was
the
just
end of-
trying to throw. I was just
where
trying to help
do
you.
I
Just
stand
declare
in
war.
this? Because I'm not in any game club.
You and Sat, I guess it's true that you're the only one that's like that. The Twitch is your game.
Yeah.
With playing Mario 64.
I'm just in my own castle.
But speaking of, this is a time for you to grow your castle, I guess, by adding another game.
Oh
to the
fuck! I
list.
forgot it was my turn.
You fuck.
I know you told me.
Damn it.
Okay, so I'm gonna. What I would like to add is a game that is on Ills' list of things to add because that's the easiest way to go about it.
Well, last week it should be speaking of Ills' list of games to add. Excuse me. We added Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. It was basically an act of God that allowed it to get below Ocarina of Time. But we praise be to our Lord above. So now you get to help Ills with his list again, Musume.
Man, fuck it. Let's add Tetris.
Oh my god.
God dang it! No.
Oh my god.
I thought this was, we went long last week, so I thought we were gonna have a short one this week.
Fuck it. Let's add Tetris.
Okay, we're adding.
it.
Saf isn't
Saf is
here.
not here.
God.
Look, Tetris.
We're
You
adding
know what
Tetris.
Tetris. I know what Tetris is. You know what Tetris is. This is one of.
Do we even?
I
say
don't even
what
need to tell
Tetris
you
is?
what it is, right? If I say Tetris, you know what it is. But this is one of the most important games of all time. I also think gameplay-wise, this is a perfect video game. It doesn't like it. You cannot improve on the formula, right? It is peak.
They have tried before.
Well, sure,
Well-
they made improvements over time, right? Slight improvements, like the fast drop and the T-spins and the holds.
Old. Yeah,
You're,
good one.
you're touching upon my issue here. Which
I
Tetris
feel
are we
like
doing?
Tetris is nebulous enough that I do think that. No.
No.
I
don't think that's true.
think
I agree.
This is just my opinion. Now, I think the clear offshoots like Tetris Effect or Tetris 99.
99.
Yeah.
Aren't there some real shit Tetrises?
Yes, there are.
There's
Tetris
that you
Planet is
thought
trash.
that-
But I think Tetris. I don't think we have to relate it to a specific game. Just the way I see it.
Yeah, because there's so many games that are just straight up.
Like sure, like
right?
like maybe the music is pitched differently in one of them, or the background effects are different.
I mean, you're
But-
talking about minor things. I'm talking about major things. What
I,
are
mean,
you
I would
doing
say
here?
the best version of Tetris that there is, of just main Tetris without any weird spin-offs, for my opinion and my money, is Tetris DS.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
so let's rank Tetris DS.
but I think I think just saying Tetris like counts for all the Tetrises because I don't want to like rank Game Boy Tetris
versus NES Tetris
NES
versus
Tetris.
like
it's the same fucking game.
When we're ranking Tetris, I don't think we can rank another Tetris.
Yeah.
You know, like this is it.
Wait, but what if there's a shit Tetris you want to rank?
I wouldn't want
there's
to.
no.
I wouldn't.
But
I
like
mean-
the shit Tetris, even like the one shit Tetris I can think of, they patched it and now it's just Tetris. Now it was just like it was just because there was some weird lag and then they patched it. And now it's just Tetris again. Like
No, it's
like,
Tetris Ultimate on the PS4.
Yeah,
Thanks, Ubisoft.
but that was patched and now it's Tetris. I think if it's like going for a different idea, like I said, 99 in Effect in particular, right?
Sure, like
Puyo Puyo
Tetris,
Tetris, absolutely.
Like Tetris Attack.
Yeah,
Those are all different games.
but
Okay.
yeah, okay,
Fine.
So Tetris, I mean, man, like you would be foolish to not think this is one of the best games of all time. Period. You know?
Easily.
Now, how high does it go on the list? So this is the beauty of the list, right? There is different scales to how each individual member ranks a game, right? Some of us think that only the gameplay matters, or only what's in the game matters. Some of us, like to account the impact it made in the industry, right? Its legacy, as we like to call it.
Fair word.
It is impossible to overstate Tetris's legacy, but I also think as a game, it's just like you cannot improve on Tetris. Right? Like it is in its final form.
No,
Tetris,
no, I do want to
the funny
separate.
story about Tetris. Oh, go ahead.
I am a person that's of the opinion that my favorite games and the games that I think are the best aren't necessarily the most perfect games ever made, right? I think that those can be different things, right? But in terms of just like exactly what is set out, there's no fat, there's nothing that is extraneous or nothing that really needs to be added. I think Tetris is up there, right? The concept is, as the name implies, Tetra is four. There's every shape you can make out of 4 blocks. That's just what they do, and it's a perfect formula for.
I mean, and it's a game that like it's kind of crazy that just this basic idea, they don't have to add new modes or anything, right? Like this is a game you can play for literally thousands of hours, right?
Same. I mean, my favorite, like I was just going to mention, my favorite story about Tetris is, I remember reading about, when they were first programming Tetris, it took them so long to finally finish and finalize the game because they just didn't want to stop playing it. They were just playing it. Instead of like finishing the game, the developers were like, man, this is so fun. And they just spent hours and hours of just playing the game instead of like actually like.
Though to their credit, I do want to say, it is wild how much they nailed the right amount of each type of block to give you, right? Because if that was off, the whole game would be a disaster. It would not be fun, right? But there is sort of this sensation of Tetris of obviously it's just constantly managing crisis, right? That's what single player Tetris is. Every time you clear a line, you know it's gonna build to you getting faster. And at one point, you're just not gonna be able to do it because humans are imperfect, right? And then multiplayer Tetris in the same way is that, but you're actively screwing over your opponent, right?
Yeah.
And I think that while like you can beat Tetris technically, right? You can get to an end screen in like marathon mode. Obviously, the score attack aspect is as strong in Tetris as there is in any game I've ever played for me personally, right? I don't play a lot of arcade games to like get good at them, right? I play Tetris because I want to get better at Tetris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even playing single player and seeing your own personal high score go up is very fun. But you also relate that to multiplayer and be like, now I can bring these skills over into playing multiplayer, and that's just as fun, playing against your friends. And I mean, they've shown how fun multiplayer Tetris is with games like Tetris 99, and I just had so much fun playing games like Tetris DS. Against other people with like local and Wi-Fi play. It's a blast playing against each other too. So man, it's just either way, whether you're playing by yourself or you're playing against other people, it's just such a fun game. And I found myself playing so much Tetris that I'll go to bed and I'll literally just
The
dream
Tetris
about
effect.
fucking situations.
That's where Tetris effect comes from.
Yeah, that's that's an actual phenomenon, and that's where they got the name of the game from.
Yeah, you just dream about fucking clearing Tetris lines. It happens because it's such a fun thing. When you're playing single player by yourself and it's very slow at the beginning and you're just like, yeah, let's fuck up a little bit, let's make this a little bit challenging, I don't know, it's so much fun.
Where do I want to put it? Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say, it's like really great when you get into like this like flow state of when you're playing Tetris. It becomes sort of like a meditation almost. Like you're just moving without really thinking about it. It's like really, I don't know, calming in a sense, even if it's getting very fast. It's just like very engaging, but in a low impact way, I guess I would say.
And you're moving, it looks like you're moving a mile a minute, but you're relaxed while you're doing it. It's very cool.
I'm shooting for the moon here. When aren't you?
True.
Above Nier Automata, number 6.
I mean, I wanted number.
I was gonna shoot.
I wanted above Ultimate. I wanted number 3.
Oh boy, I'm not shooting for the moon at all.
You're not.
Oh jeez.
I don't agree with it being above Ultimate, but I agree with it being above everything else.
I mean, my thing is, I would put it below Galaxy, and I don't know about Resident Evil 4, so I'm just automatically putting it below Resident Evil 4. But yeah.
Well, I would put it below Resident Evil.
We're only really 4 spots apart, but those 4 spots are going to be
every spot here is like an enormous jump. I mean, I will say, from someone who hasn't even played Resident Evil 4, right? And like, obviously, like, you cannot, like, the impact of Tetris is just huge, right? But I do think Resident Evil 4, from everything what you guys said, and like just how good of a fucking game it is, but also, I mean, it also has the legacy to back it up, though, right? Like, so many games were influenced by Resident Evil 4, right? Like, this is so many creators, when they tell you what games inspired them or what game they took, like kind of was a breakthrough for them, and the answer is so often Resident Evil 4, right? I think this is such an important game for development in particular, and like you said, like you guys have said, like this. I mean, I haven't played it myself, but like this game is, from all accounts, just seems to be a 10 out of 10.
But I don't. But you can say that Resident Evil 4 is important for development. I agree. I think Tetris is fundamental for video games as a medium. I think it is.
I agree, but I think RE4 is also though like I think.
But I think Tetris blows it out of the water in that aspect.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I think that there are like so does Tetris. Like Tetris is a phenomenal game, but like
but there's like nothing wrong with Tetris. There's nothing, like that's the thing that gets me, right? Is like I've said it before, it's just like if an alien showed up and said, "Give me a video game," it would be Tetris. That would be it. It's fundamental in the human brain why people like Tetris, and it taps into that. It did it so early in the medium of video games. The formula has held true for 30 years, right? It has not had to reinvent the wheel, because the wheel that it's inventing is like, we still have the wheel, like Tetris was the wheel. We invented it, like that's it.
Well, this is sort of my issue with ranking them all together, is that, some of them have like little flaws that you could say, oh, this is like sort of a problem, but if you just rank them all together, suddenly all those problems go away. So that's why it's a little bit unfair in my mind.
True.
I mean, but if we then take Tetris DS, right? Then I would say all those problems.
Well, yeah, but the problem is then if you rank a later version of Tetris, then it's like, oh well, but then you don't have the influence to back it up anymore.
I mean, I think that Tetris on the Game Boy is also relatively flawless.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that would improve.
Yeah, it doesn't have hold, but I mean, it's also just, I mean, Look at that thing. Look at what it did. Like, holy shit, man. Tetris on the Game Boy was the reason to buy a Game Boy, you know? Nintendo fucking struck gold with that deal.
Agree.
It's incredible.
The 10-minute versus 10-hour aspect of it is insane. You can do both.
It's a perfect portable game, too. It really is. You can play it anywhere. I can't say enough good things about it.
Brendan, where do you want it?
I want it at number 4. Right below Ultimate. My reasoning, just because Ultimate is just...
See, this is where you and I differ, okay? Because, like, my issues are RE4, Galaxy, maybe even Dark Souls. I think Ultimate needs to go lower. like, I would throw Ultimate also down below RE4, quite frankly.
No. That's weird for you to say, especially since you haven't played RE4. And I'm the biggest fucking... I feel like I would suck RE4 off until the fucking break of dawn.
Someone clip
I
that.
love that game.
But
I mean, maybe I'm okay with putting it above.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I just look at Ultimate and think it's like just a celebration of video games. Like there's been no other, and it's just incredible to me that game even exists. So, yeah, I don't know.
Mario Galaxy, though, dog.
Mario Galaxy has the motion control levels.
Odyssey
Mario Galaxy makes me
Galaxy
feel.
anyway.
Tetris does not make me feel.
Oh, I feel a lot with the
You're
Tetris.
stupid.
Yeah, I feel a lot with that.
No, genuinely, I could wax philosophical about Tetris, but I won't. But yeah, I think.
Okay, well, I don't think I'm whittling them down any else. So I'm just gonna have to get on board with them.
What? Okay, so what about...
Nah,
This is our problem when we only have 4. We need the odd man.
I am having a hard time. Let's see.
I mean, yeah, I think there's something to the discussion of like the impact of having a story versus the general feeling that you get when playing.
I mean, I'm in those boat. Like, look, I know that you guys get annoyed when we say something like this, right? But to me, like a multiplayer game or like a puzzle game or something will just never have the same impact to me as a single player like story driven game. It just won't. As a video game, to me.
But here's the thing. I agree with you by and large, except for Tetris. It's the one exception, and I think that it is that one exception is why
I guess. I mean, I know, like, as far as the game Tetris goes, I know I'm the least hot on it out of anyone. Maybe on the planet. I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong, but I did like. I don't think I've put more than maybe 15 hours of Tetris in my life. 20 maybe.
Jesus.
That's probably underselling it, but I don't know. Like, whatever. We can put above Ultimate. I don't actually feel that strong. Whatever.
Oh God.
No, well, I don't want to but whatever on the top.
Well, yeah. But I mean, but I told you my problem, right? Like, if it's above or below Ultimate, it's whatever to me. But it's like
I haven't played
Dark Souls, but like, yeah.
You play
my block is Mario Galaxy, but like if it's getting above Galaxy, then like what are the other games to me? You know what I mean? Like, well, not Breath. Oh no, we still have Breath of the Wild there. So.
Yeah,
we're
We
not
want to be like another podcast.
It's not. Breath of the Wild is the best game of all time. Period. Fucking. Period.
No.
Like I will not hear the argument that Tetris or anything for that matter is better than The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Again, that is the best game of all time. Period. No, I know. I said I'm not interested in making it. I'm just no. I'm a hard no on this.
Oh no.
We're doing it for Sat.
Okay, where do the rest of you guys? I know Will wants it above Ultimate. Ills and Brandon, where do you guys stand on above or below Ultimate? And I can kind of go.
I mean, I want it below RE4, but above Ultimate.
So you're the same boat I am.
That's fine. I mean, I said that initially, but...
Brandon, I'm just gonna go defer to you on above or below Ultimate.
Look, man, I told you my choice. Like, if I choose below Ultimate.
Okay.
But I'm not like...
I mean, we have two people that want it as low as possible, basically, right?
Well, no, I don't want it as low as possible.
But yeah,
I want it above, like most of, above Nier.
Yeah, Nier is actually the baseline. Like, it should be above Nier for sure. But
yeah, I know. But I just mean like, well, it's hard, right? Because the thing, if it gets above Galaxy, then you're fine with it being above Ultimate. But I'll defer and say below Ultimate on this one. Because all three of you have places that you're getting hung up on, so I'll defer to that and put it where the next closest spot is. If you want to do that, you can.
Neither do I.
Alright, then we'll put it below Ultimate. Number 4.
Fine.
That makes sense, though. It's Tetris. That has to be at number 4.
Bunch of simps.
I mean, it could be at number 3.
It has to be.
Alright, so there it is. This doesn't happen often, though it's been happening more often, more regularly, I guess. Because
chill on it.
Oh, what a shock!
Yeah, you know what? I'm
after FF7 got knocked down, I have to reassert.
Oh, you know what?
So that means
I just knocked out a C out of the top 10.
Fucking
I'll celebrate.
We'll re-rank could come one day. All right, surrounding we're just gonna the full top 10. All right, number 1/2 is they both share the crown for both Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Super Metroid. Number 3, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 4, Tetris. Number 5, Dark Souls. Number 6, Super Mario Galaxy. Number 7, Resident Evil 4. Number 8, Nier Automata. Number 9, Shadow of the Colossus. Number 10, Xenoblade Chronicles. We did it.
Good top 10.
That is the podcast. That's a big top 10. Good top 10. God, that little Zelda section below it makes me laugh every time. There's no Zelda. There's a Zelda in the top 10. What am I talking about? I'm an idiot.
Yeah, geez, come on.
But that is the podcast for this week. That is the list. We want to thank you all for listening. There's plugs. There's final phrases. Who wants?
I'll take whatever's not taken.
God, here we are again every week.
Torn into pieces.
Every week. It's just me and Muzzy.
That's all me. We just gotta accept it. I'll take the final phrase. Oh, yeah, I would.
You would.
I would.
You would.
What a sacrifice.
What a hero.
All right. Well, hey, I'll do the plugs. Hey, if you enjoyed listening to this wild and crazy episode of the Jump Up Supercast, make sure you give us a follow and a like and a share if you really liked it, and maybe comment on how messed up our list is, if you think. But I think Tetris at number 4. Tetra means 4. It's just fucking perfect, baby. I just think it worked out. It was destiny. Okay? So if you just disagree with that, fuck you. Anything else? That's open game. Just let us know. And if you liked it, go ahead and you can find us on any podcast listening service of your choice. Mostly, almost. When I say any, I mean a lot, but not all of them. We're on SoundCloud. We're on iTunes. We're on YouTube. And just other podcatchers out there. So just Google us, search for us. You'll find us. You can listen. And we'd really appreciate that. We also have the other show, the Jump Up Supercast Game Club. We upload every other Thursday. And this week, we're playing a game called Lucky Luke. I know, don't get too excited. But that's what we're playing. But I'm sure we'll play something else after that.
Lucky
a little bit more excited.
Please, you don't like it either.
Yeah, I mean, Listen, I need to get the people.
I know.
If anything, you should be the number one man about that. But
well, you don't have to like tell the people.
Listen, we played a lot of really cool games on the game club, so we're gonna continue to play a lot of cool games. So check it out. We also have the game club extra now. We have a little extra game clubs here and there for long ass.
Hey, no, the next one's not a JRPG.
Well, we just episoded what RPGs, whatever. When I think of long games, usually JRPGs come to mind, but just long games in general, I guess. But yeah, Suikoden was the first game that was played for that.
Suikoden 2.
Check that out. Suikoden 2, sorry. I'm not part of that, so I tend to forget what was going on. But follow us on social media. We also have we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and just give us a follow. We'll post when the episodes go live. So we keep up to date with everything that's going on. And we have a Twitch. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but we have twitch.tv/JumpUpSupercast. Muzzie's going to be playing Mario 64 throughout the month. He's going to be playing it really soon after we're done recording. So hopefully you watched it. And if not, you can find the archive. Also, it'll probably go up on YouTube. So listen, we got a lot of stuff going on. Make sure you follow us on all those platforms. We'd really appreciate it. Come hang out with us. We play video games. Maybe we'll play some Among Us, some Fall Guys. Who knows? But it's all fun. Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. And Muzzy, it's your turn to just take us out with your final phrase. Whatever you want.
Surprise, it's me, Saf. Muzzy's had enough fun already. I'm taking over the last phrase. Does anyone else find it suspicious that they've managed to skim over the news about Nintendo taking down that Peach fan porn game? That's something suspicious. Follow the money.